Okay, so let me introduce Adam. I've come to know Adam sort of fairly recently, actually, since probably last year, I guess. Recently we started playing strategy games together online, which is a lot of fun. I visited his school last year and was very impressed. It's great. He has a school in Kansai, and great, wonderful. I didn't know what to expect, and I walked in and it was really good, really good. He's also the founder of AAS Press and author of textbooks, and he's had some award-winning readers recently, I think that was. But most relevant for this presentation is that he's the creator of the Gamerize Dictionary, which, as you'll see, is a really exciting new development for ELT, not only in Japan, I expect, but you know, because he's in Japan, it's especially relevant for teachers in Japan. And I'm very happy to know that he's produced a version which supports finding out. So I'm sure we'll be working together more and more because of that. So thank you, Adam. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Am I okay to start? We're still a couple of minutes before the end of the break there.
Maybe hang on just a couple of minutes in case somebody's coming back, but yeah.
Out for a bit. Yeah, thanks a lot for inviting me and for giving me this chance. I didn't know when I first got in touch with you that you were interested in gaming so much, actually. That wasn't until very recently that I found out. Right.
Well, yeah, I mean, finding out is totally games-based, but it's games-based in the classroom. So, you know, it's what you're doing can really, you know, fits in with that, and it adds a different dimension to it, which is great.
Yeah, it was really nice to see the online, the games, the free games that you made there as well. Those are excellent. It looked like a lot of fun, and yeah, just like so much good practice happening there while the kids are just having fun and not really thinking about it.
That's right, yeah.
All right, so we're just about up at 3:30 there, so I'll just jump in. Let me just close the chat there. Okay, so I'm happy if anybody wants, while I'm talking, if you want to throw any questions in the chat. I think Greg will possibly stop me when the timing's right, because I don't mind certainly being interrupted and ask questions as I'm going. Hopefully I'll have enough time to finish everything that I want to show here. I have a bit of a habit of planning too much, but I've kind of cut down a bit for today. But yeah, so I'm really excited to thank you again, David, for inviting me and giving me a chance to show what I've been working on for the last couple of years. It's really kind of consumed my life for the last couple of years. And in particular, I'm really excited to show the adaptation of the new Finding Out material into the Gamerize Dictionary. Let me just share screen a bit here. All right, so if anyone missed that during the break, I shared these QR codes. I'll put them up at the end as well. And if you want to download the app and use it for free for the rest of this month, when you sign up at the beginning, if you just put in this institution code, I've also put that in the chat, then you'll be able to use it for free for the rest of the month, and you won't be asked to subscribe by the App Store. Right, so here we go. So what I'd like to start off with first is just tell you a little bit about where I'm coming from and how we've come to develop the Gamerize Dictionary. So I want to kind of show you a little bit of our school and what's led to the development of this. And then after that, of course, I'll give you a walkthrough of the app itself, the teacher dashboards, and then hopefully we'll have some time left for more questions at the end. So as David mentioned, I've been running schools in Kansai, just outside of Osaka, in a place called Kawanishi, for the last 15 years. And our school's really changed a lot over the last 15 years. We've kind of used the school as, well, I've used it as a bit of a kind of a laboratory for curriculum development. We've always, anytime new ideas come up or new methods or concepts or whatever come up, I immediately kind of bring those to the classroom. try them out with learners, get live feedback, work with the teachers to try to put things together. So it's been a really exciting journey for me, and it's been something that's kept teaching really exciting and fresh for me over the last 15 years. If anything, I'm more excited about teaching now than I ever have been. Some features that stick out about our school, we focus on, well, we give a variety of different classes for students. There's not just one course that all of the students take. We've got CLIL courses, reading, phonics, some test prep, writing classes, all kinds of different things. I don't know if everyone's familiar with CLIL, but that's content and language integrated learning. So we have a lot of classes where we teach subjects through English, for example, teaching, science or art or something like that through English, and rather than actually studying English itself. We focus on trying to give a lot of exposure time to students and a lot of meaningful practice chances to use English, hence the CLIL. We also have a Gakudo program and a small preschool, and a story-based course, which we call a holistic communication course, that really lets students think in English and use English and not really worry too much about the P's and Q's. So yeah, over the last 15 years through that process of development, it was about 4 years ago that we finally thought we were ready to make our courses something a bit more formal, and we started publishing books. We started our publishing company, AAS Press. We've got 2 distinct series now, which I'm not going to go on about these too much, but just to touch on it a bit. We have the Awesome Adventure series, which is a collection of pop albums, comic graded readers, and tasks and games that allow the kids to use the language while thinking, and use the language that they picked up in the songs and the stories. We also have a holistic phonics course. I mean, as holistic as a phonics course can be, but it integrates, again, this comic reader style and the pop tunes and lots of activities and stuff that get the kids reading and writing. So the Gamerize Dictionary has its origin in the trauma that we all went through starting 2 years ago, called the COVID pandemic. So about 2 years ago, like I'm sure many of you also experienced, our school was forced to become an online school very suddenly. And this is something that I'm sure it affected schools around the world, but we were not prepared for it. In the beginning, we did find that it worked really well for our adult students, teens, higher level students, and private lessons, but particularly lower level kids and larger group classes, that sort of thing. It was a bit of a struggle, and we didn't. What I kind of found was the tools that we had grown to, used to using in the classroom were suddenly taken away from us. We couldn't get kids moving around as much, and it was hard to get the student-to-student, the learner-centered student-to-student communication. But it wasn't all that bad. In some ways, when all of your tools are taken away from you, you're forced to adapt and to develop new tools. So it was a really steep learning curve, and I think through that process picked up a lot of new ideas. And one of those is digital resources that were on the market. So we started to try to improve our classes by adding on different digital components. We experimented with things like Hoot, Bamboozle, Nearpod, Memrise, Quizlet, and many more. The results were quite good, actually. I think the kids were really engaged by these. They got extra input. In some cases, we use them as homework solutions so that after the class, they would do something. Sometimes we use them in the class, sharing screen. And also, we started to use them a lot as a sort of flip solution, like a flip classroom, so that the students would pre-study a lot of necessary language. So if we were doing a CLIL class, they could learn vocabulary that they needed to do a project or that sort of thing. And this really helped us to kind of maximize that precious class time. I've always felt like an hour class is just, or 45 minutes or an hour class is just, it just goes by in a second. And I always feel like there's more that I want to do. So I think, the flip style of learning was something that really resonated with us and really helped And not only when we were online, once we came offline, this approach kind of stuck with us. And I do want to say also the Gamerize Dictionary is not an online teaching platform. It's something different from that. It just sort of was born out of those circumstances. Now, with all of these resources, though they worked really well for us, there were a few, there was not one resource that really ticked all of the boxes for us. And in particular, there were two things that we really wanted our learners to get that we weren't getting from these tools. The first one is we really wanted something that would keep the students motivated long-term. Often we'd introduce something like a Kahoot, a quiz, and the kids would find it really fun. But then after 3-4 weeks, they weren't as enthusiastic about it. So we really wanted to create something that they would just keep their interest, not for a couple weeks, but for years. The other thing was that we really wanted a resource that would allow the kind of practice and feedback that we wanted our students to get at home. And by that, I mean, for example, we wanted them to be able to practice speaking. We wanted them to be able to practice writing. And also we wanted them to get feedback on production or how they're doing with things, not necessarily just tapping on different squares and stuff. That is a great, there's a lot of really great games like that, but we wanted it to go a step further so they would actually get to be able to speak in class, not in class, sorry, at home using the Gamerize Dictionary. So we decided to develop the Gamerize Dictionary. So really as simply put as I can make it, the Gamerize Dictionary is a gamified learner dictionary that can be used alongside any curriculum. It combines voice recognition, spaced repetition, AI-guided review, and what I'm calling deep gamification. So not just fun games, but a whole cohesive game world. So as we were designing this, we wanted to make sure that we would be able to make it fit for all of the different classes that we have at our school. And as I mentioned before, we have quite a lot of different things, whether it's test prep or CLIL or writing or reading. And as we were doing this, as we were trying to develop something that could suit all of those scenarios, we thought, well, we probably could make something that would fit with any curriculum. And then we started to survey the market, to talk to school owners and different teachers to find out what kind of content would best serve them. And part of that was finding out what book series were popular in the market. So after talking to a lot of schools, we began talking to different publishers. And one that we included, we contacted Oxford and we licensed the Let's Go series. Future licensed us the My First Grammar series. Elf Learning with the Think, Read, Write series, which is also very popular. Whether you like or dislike language tests, they're quite popular in the market. We have content for ACAN and for also Cambridge YLE. And then one of the series of books that came up time and time again was the New Finding Out series. And what I found really interesting when talking to schools that use New Finding Out, school owners where the school uses New Finding Out, there's a very different kind of attitude than schools that are using other books. They're very dedicated to it. The approach in New Finding Out is something that they believe in deeply, and many of the schools have been using it for many years and are definitely going to continue with that. And this is where I kind of discovered New Finding Out for the first time, and I began to look into it. And at that point, I got in touch with David, and I told him about the Gamerize Dictionary. He checked it out. I sent him some videos, and I asked him, would you be interested in letting us adapt New Finding Out into the Gamerize Dictionary? And actually, his first reaction, or his first response was, no, which it wasn't a hard no, like, no, we can't do it. But he did have some, the approach in New Finding Out and the sequence of activities that we had in the Gamerize Dictionary were not a perfect fit. And I think that's a wonderful thing, that he's not sort of just letting anyone use his material the way they want. He wants to make sure that it does justice to the materials the way it was designed. So we had more discussions about this over time, and he suggested a few different adaptations. We spoke to our developers, and they said this was something that we would be able to do. And so, yeah, we went ahead with it, and David gave us his word lists, and we began to add all of the content for New Finding Out. And we've just finished last month New Finding Out 5. So now we do have the whole series in there, although we're adding some other new features with it as well. Great. I'm going to stop there for a second. And next, without further ado, I'll jump in and I'll show you the app and how it actually works. Before I screen share the app, does anyone have any questions? Probably not yet, as we haven't really got into the nuts and bolts. Somebody got a question? I saw a hand go up. Nope. All right. Okay, so I'm going to screen share the Gamerize Dictionary. Here we go. Okay, so here we are. So this is the home screen. So when a student downloads the app and starts up, this is what they'd see. Really quick, I'm going to actually log out. The first time you download the app, this is what you get, and you can go to Shinki Toroku right here. So new sign up. If it's a user that's not with a school, they would just fill out email, username, password, and first name. If they are with the school, they would click this button, and then they can add a couple more fields. The bottom field here, Kyoiku Kikan Kodo, which means institution code. If you have a school, your school will have a code. The students can put that code in here, and then they will be in the school dashboard. A lot of schools that use Gamerize Dictionary now just give us a big list of students, and we create the dashboard for them. So you don't necessarily need to have each student fill that out on their own. Okay. Please don't steal my username and password. There we go. And the app is designed for Android and iOS. Right now, I'm actually playing it on a computer through something called an app emulator. So it is possible to use it on a computer, but if I run Zoom and I'm using the app emulator, sometimes there's a bit of lag, but it does work it's really smooth and snappy on tablets or phone devices. Okay, so here we go. This is the home screen for Gamerize Dictionary. And here we have a kingdom building feature. I'm going to give you a little tour of my kingdom. We'll see there's people walking around in different places, and there are some different monsters attacking. Now, the kingdom building feature has the purpose of being, someone's asked a question there. Okay. The purpose of the kingdom building feature is motivation. We wanted to create something that was going to maintain students' motivation for a long time. The kingdom that you're seeing now is really well developed. It would take a learner about 3 years probably to get to this stage. When they start out, they just get a small wooden castle, and they start to build these little cabins, and very gradually they build their economy, and they build up to a larger kingdom. So the way that this motivates students, there's a few really important things about it. One is when the students go on adventures, I just want to clarify terms really quick. When I say adventure, I mean a lesson, which is a sequence of games. Right, so when they finish an adventure, they get some gold. They're able to use that gold. They can go to the build menu here, and they can choose different buildings. And they can use that gold to build different structures. The points in gamification are important. But if the points don't really have any meaning, the score just continuously goes up, quickly those become less exciting and students can lose interest in it. So we've created the kingdom building feature to give students a reason to collect points. Another thing that happens very naturally when playing Gamerize Dictionary is that you see the next building that you want to make, you see how much gold you need to build it, and then you look at how much you have, and then that becomes your goal. You go, oh, I probably need to do about 4 or 5 more adventures, and then I can build that castle or that house or whatever it is. There's other things that they can use their gold for. There's a weapon and armor store here. We have a female avatar and also a male avatar. There are also spells that become unlocked at different levels. So there's always lots of new stuff to buy and get. Also, we're adding very soon a feature which is pets. You'll be able to hatch an egg with consistent login, and if you complete your reviews, you'll be able to hatch an egg and you'll have a pet that grows and also goes along with you on the adventure. That's not quite done yet. Other things about the kingdom that relate to motivation. One is each of these buildings has a function. So you'll see there are these little icons. These are resources that we can collect. Oops. So this really helps to build that study habit. Ideally,
there's a question there, Adam.
Yes, go for it.
In the chat box, mate.
If the school has an account, is it then free for the students to log in and play at home? Yes. The short answer is yes. Yeah, they will be in the school dashboard. The school would pay the subscriptions, and if the school wants to charge the students, they can do it that way, but the students will never be asked to pay through the app. Right, so yeah, by having the resources to collect once a day, it kind of keeps the app, the program top of mind, and it gets them just in the habit of thinking about it. So ideally, we don't really want students to sit down and do a couple of hours in one shot. Ideally, they might just every day open it up, collect a few resources, and then these monsters that you see here, these are reviews. So they might defend their kingdom, do a couple review games, and that's it. So maybe a 10, 15-minute gameplay, and that's it for the day. One final thing related to motivation in the kingdom is that because it's something that grows little by little over a long period of time, it acts as kind of like a visualization of their efforts over a long period of time. It's really important for children to see a connection between their effort and their growth. This would help them to develop what they call a growth mindset. And you know, if you finish something and you get a reward for that one thing, but you don't see it again, it's easy to kind of, for that to just drift into space. But as they see the kingdom growing, they can kind of see that steady little by little effort builds up into something much bigger. And I think there's another question there. Is there a feature where you can select a full English version in the settings? Good question. I'm asked that a lot. The UI is in Japanese at the moment, although we will be releasing different versions later on. We like the UI to be in Japanese because it lowers the barrier. Parents don't freak out. You know, if it just relates to how to use different things, we wanted to make sure that that wasn't too much of a hurdle. In terms of the language study, you can actually turn on or turn off the Japanese. Here, there's a button. So right now I have the Japanese set to off. Great. So I'll show you really quickly one of these reviews. So on each adventure, you do a sequence of games, and the last one is an RPG style battle. And once you defeat the monster in the RPG style battle, it comes back to attack your kingdom on a spaced repetition schedule. So they'll come back the next day, a few days later, and then at gradually increasing intervals. This rhinoceros here is a spaced repetition review. This one with the glowing aura is an AI-generated review session, which targets specific areas of need that the learner has. So if I click the monster, I can then visit this camp, and this will show me the content of what I'm studying. So this is a relatively lower level one. And then if I want, I can hit go here and the battle starts. Whoa, what happened? That monster disappeared. A bit of a glitch there. Here we go. Oh dear. So I've studied this one before, so I know that this is an adventure where I'm practicing saying a whole sentence. There are different aim settings, so it depends on the way the gameplay works, depends on the aim setting. There are 3 passengers in the car. Ooh, I got it right. So there's different spells and attacks that will come up here. Oh, so I got one mistake. Notice I said there are 3 passengers in the car. What I was actually studying here was were. So that's highlighted my one error there. You can compare your sentence. There are 3 passengers in the car to the sample.
There were 3 passengers in the car.
There we go. There's also, you can select the different spells. But yeah, that's the basic RPG gameplay. So this is something that I'm reviewing, so I should know it from before. You can show the Japanese as well. For certain books, such as New Finding Out, which I'll show you in a minute, there is no Japanese. So even if you do select it, that's not something that's available. Oh, one note on the voice recognition. The voice recognition that's in Gamerize Dictionary is something that's specifically designed for young learners who are non-native speakers. It was developed, it's not something that we've developed in-house, it's something that we've licensed, but it's a really sophisticated piece of technology. It's really quick, it analyzes each and every phoneme in the sentence or word that the student is saying, and it gives very precise results quite quickly. It was developed with a huge data sample of children's voices from around the world and machine learning to make sure that it can understand children. I don't know if anyone has ever tried having a child, particularly a non-native speaker child, talk to Siri or any of those voice recognition APIs like Google or whatever, but it doesn't really do a very good job. It usually can't kind of make out what they're trying to say. Okay, so some other features that are on the kingdom map here before we take a look at the New Finding Out content. The students can check their analytics. You can see how many words, sentences they've practiced speaking or how much spelling work that they've done. There is a dictionary. It is called Gamerize Dictionary. It doesn't look much like a dictionary, but it can be used as a straight dictionary. And we have about 19,000 or 20,000 entries in the dictionary now. And each entry has word translation, sentence, graded sentence translation, as well as audio for both. We can switch hiragana and kanji if we've got very young learners. You can turn off the Japanese for this as well.
Space probe. There are no astronauts aboard a space probe.
Right. So in this case, there's actually 2 images, an image for the sentence and an image for the word. So there's a huge amount of audio, pictures, sentences in the app. You would not be able to search the NFO entries in here as they're specifically in content bundles, which I'll show you in a sec. So a new feature that we're pretty excited about as well, again, before we go into the main adventures, we've created this King chat feature. So if we tap on the King icon right over here, you can actually have a little conversation with the King. So the first 3 bundles we have here are collections of different questions. We've started adding Finding Out as well, and I'll show you a sample of that. But for example, if I click on this one here, the King will be asking you, what toy do you have? Which do you prefer, bread or rice? What sports do you play? And the child can answer freely with their own original answer. For New Finding Out, we've just made up to Unit 3 for Book 1 so far. Here we'll have how old are you, what's your name, and then a lot of the vocabulary questions from the first 3 units. So let me give you a look at what that's like.
What is it?
It's a dog.
Oh, I see. What is it?
I hope that the what's your name question comes up soon. It's a panda.
Good answer. What is it?
Okay. It's more like a conversation when they're asking you, like, how old are you and that sort of thing. It's a sock.
I understand.
Come on.
What is it?
Oh, give me how old are you? It's a nut.
Oh, really? What's your name?
There we go. My name is Adam.
Aha!
Right. So obviously we don't have every name in there, but as long as you're responding in an appropriate way, I am, my name is, it's going to pick that up and give you a correct answer for that.
How old are you?
I'm 8.
Interesting.
There we go.
What is it?
Oh, let me get one wrong for you as well. Banana.
I didn't catch that.
So he's going to make you say it again. Yeah. There we go. So that is the King Chat feature, and it gives the kids a chance to kind of experiment. And it's quite fun watching kids use that, because they won't always, they'll test it out. And instead of saying the right answer, they'll mess around and try to say different things. Sometimes they're actually able to fool it by saying things with similar phonemes, but generally, yeah, they need to get a correct answer in there. Great. So next, I'm going to show you the adventure menu, which is the bottom left corner here. And this is where all of the content is. So the king is telling me, oh, I've got reviews to complete. The kingdom is under attack, but I can ignore that and jump in. There is music, by the way, which I have turned off now. Somebody commented before about the music in the online games that David was showing. A lot of kids do play with it on. Of course, it is a little bit distracting sometimes, so I've got it off now. So the first, there are 4 tabs here. The first tab is the assignments from the school. So I'll show you towards the end what the school dashboard looks like, but you can create custom assignments, or you can take content, pre-arranged content like New Finding Out, and you can assign it to individual students or classes. And that will appear in this menu on their app. The top here, this is an adventure that is in progress, and this is New Finding Out 1, Unit 1, Phonics 1, which I'll show you fairly soon. Next tab over is the bundled content. So here we have quite a range of textbooks. Some of you might be cringing to see ACAN at the top, or maybe not. But yep, that's there. It's popular content. They're language arranged by topics. We've got phonics. Earlier in the presentation, I think it was the first presentation, somebody was asking about sight words. We've got more than one sight word set here. We've got basic sight words, which is the the Dolch sight word list, and the total sight words, which is the Fry sight word list. So if you do want to make sure your learners are getting high frequency exposure to reading sight words, they can use these sets to practice, and it's got the spaced repetition to make sure that they're going to retain that language or that reading skill. Going a little bit further down here, Cambridge YLE, there's Let's Go, and there's New Finding Out. Yeah, so just taking a look at inside one of these bundles, you'll see all of the adventures categorized by unit in order. These are made to David's specifications, so they don't follow the word list that's obvious in the book. It's a word list that he provided me that goes along with the course. And there's a lot of recycling. He's made sure that if they learn one set of words, the next set will have some of the words from the previous set recycled in. And it's really nicely put together in that way to ensure that the students will retain the language. Some things here, these icons represent the learning aim setting. So this is say the word. This larger speech bubble is say the sentence. This is spell the word. And if we can find, probably don't have write the sentence too many times, but yeah, I don't see it there. In some cases, you'll see a page with the writing quill above it, and that is for the students to be writing an entire sentence. Okay. You can also check what the content is by clicking on this icon here. Now, one last feature before we actually try out one of these adventures from New Finding Out, I want to show you is this. So the students can also create their own sets. So if they're doing, for example, project-based learning, or they're doing reading and there's some words that come up that they want to practice and retain, they can click here, choose a learning aim, give their adventure a name, hit next. Then here they can search up to 8 words and create their own original adventure. There we go, grape. Here we've got a sight word, grapefruit, grapes. There we go. So they can choose 8 words there. And once that's done, that will be in their adventure list, and they can practice that at their own pace. Finally, the last tab is just the completed adventures menu. Whenever they finish something, it will just go off their adventure list and go into the completed menu. Okay, so let's jump in and have a look at NFO 1 Unit 1 Phonics 1. Okay, so when I click on it, on the go arrow, I end up on this adventure map, which is a sequence of flags that goes on, and it goes through different zones. There's a camp here. In the standard sets, not the NFO sets, you can go into the camp and you can hear all of the audio. We've disabled the audio for finding out. So you can see the images, but you're not able to listen to the sound first. That's something that you have to find out once you're in the activity. So it's through the gameplay that the learners are taking risks, trying things, and working it out as they go. Right, this is an adventure in progress. Each one is 4 games. This is the final game. So I'm going to jump into the first one here.
Apple. Ant. Umbrella. Ant.
There you go. So this one's quite straightforward. It's a simple kind of identify type of activity. Let's get one wrong.
Ant.
Right, so
elephant.
The answer is if you make a mistake. Again, even if you do click the Japanese here, it just says Nihongo Nashi, just tells them that there is no Japanese in this set. We've included that just to make sure that if they're using other content, they won't think that it's a bug. They'll know that that's intentional. So the next activity here
umbrella
is, again, an identify kind of game in a different format.
Ant.
I got the same one again.
Octopus. Elephant.
So you get the idea. It's just select the target and then shoot with the bow. Let's get one wrong. There you go.
Igloo.
Now the third game in the sequence here, there are different versions of this. Let's see which one we get here.
Egg.
Okay, so this is a magic practice one. Every time you get a correct answer, the ball of light will grow. There's an alternative version, which is also crossing a rope bridge. And if you make too many mistakes, then you shake and fall off. Egg. So here's where this, I didn't get that. I got yellow. Green means 100% correct. Yellow, there's a color scale that would show you your accuracy. And I only got 2 stars here. Not sure why. Let's check. Egg. I kind of cut off the audio a bit. Maybe I let go a bit too early of the button.
Igloo.
Igloo. There we go. So they get immediate feedback on the pronunciation, which is really important to make sure that they know that they're saying it right. A lot of, if there are school owners out there, this might ring true to you. If you're trying to get parents to help kids with phonics at home, often they have a lot of insecurity about it. They're worried, oh no, the kids are going to get my pronunciation, which I don't think is a valid concern. But this is really nice in that the parents feel, oh, they're getting feedback from that, and I don't have the confidence to do that anyways. Also, kids really respond well to feedback from a game rather than feedback from a person. When I've tried to teach phonics to my daughter, often she just reacts funny. She doesn't, but when I let her play Gamerize by herself, she'll just bang through it. And if she makes a mistake, she tries again. There's always chances for false starts.
Album.
Okay. The last activity is similar to what we saw before. We've got the RPG battle, and this time there's no audio, so they should be able to produce it on their own. Album. Yahoo! I did it. Got a mega attack there. Nice. One other thing that's really interesting about this, I mentioned before the voice recognition. One thing that's really quite cutting edge with the voice recognition in this is that it's able to identify individual phonemes. So things like elephant is possible. We also have activities, for example, with ship or chicken. I'm not sure exactly what the word in NFO is, but typically this is something that voice recognition has struggled with because without the rest of the sounds in the word, it's less reliable. But this voice recognition is able to do that quite well. There we go. And I think we've seen enough of the RPG game. So I'm going to jump out of there. So after they complete the adventure, they would end up back in the kingdom with their gold rewards. Perhaps they've leveled up at some point as well. I want to show you one other variation for the spelling adventures. So I'm actually going to log out and log in with a different account because I'll have the adventure already in progress, so I can show you all the different games. Fun.
Can I just ask a quick question, Adam?
Yes, please.
With the voice recognition stuff, for example, at our school, we have teachers who we have British, American, and Australian teachers at our school. And sometimes I'm amazed at how the kids pick up the pronunciation of the teacher that they're learning from. Particularly with things like vowels, for example, the U vowel sound, the difference between the British, Australian, and American pronunciation with that. Is there any effect with that in the game, or does it accurately pick up any of those variations, or what's the situation there?
Thank you very much for that question. Actually, that's something that I forgot to mention, and it is asked quite often. So it's definitely not comparing the voice to the sample. It's based on, again, machine learning on a large data sample of children's voices. So there are different varieties of pronunciation from different people that it's been developed with. So yep, it picks up Australian, British, slightly off something else. Yeah, it should be able to pick up any kind of variation of pronunciation. The models in it are North American, as you've noticed. I think it's the same type of English sound that's in Finding Out as well. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Oh, great. Thank you. Okay, so let's have a quick look at. So this is a much less developed kingdom. This is kind of more what it would look like in the beginning. And I'll show you now a spelling adventure. Okay. Okay, so in the spelling adventures, the sequence is a bit different. So we'll start off here. And this time it's basically you're kind of testing on it right from the start. So this is from NFO 3, so it's a little bit higher up. But this one here is, if I get it wrong. Oh, it's not the sky, it's the moon, isn't it? But did you notice there in the answer box, it doesn't give you the correct answer. In fact, you have a few tries to get it right before you actually fail. So if the learners can't just immediately see the right answer and then do it, they'll really have to experiment and try for a while. They can, if they failed the game, go back and then look at the camp, and they should see the written language there, but not within the game. Right, so you see also we have kind of a scaffolded keyboard here. Only some of the letters are lit up. So even students in grade 1 or 2 who are not as familiar with the keyboard are able to do it. My daughter, who's 4 years old, is actually quite enjoys the typing adventures, as long as the words are up to 3 letters. Sorry, that should actually be done for this. Oh. There we go. Okay, so that's the first game in the sequence when it comes to spelling in the New Finding Out adaptation. Second one, this is similar to what we saw before, but instead of audio, we see the word down here. We have to read it and identify. The sky, here it is. Octopus. There we go. The third game is the archery game. Again, with this time, it's instead of audio, we're reading the words off of the targets, looking at and matching them to the image in the corner here. Let's see. There you go. Okay. And finally, we're back to the RPG. And this is quite similar to the first activity as well. The learners just need to produce language. And there you go. So that's the sequence when it comes to writing in the New Finding Out series. Okay, I think that's all I want to show for the app there. I'll pause a bit for questions, and then the last thing I want to do is a quick run through of the school dashboard, so you'll have a chance to see how that works. Okay, let's have a quick look at the chat there. Oh, am I off on time? Oh, my goodness me. I thought that I had 15 more minutes. Looks like I'm over on time. Okay. David, what should I do?
Yeah, another 5 minutes or so is fine.
All right. Should I show you guys the dashboard, or would you like to ask questions? Pricing. Yeah, so the pricing depends on the number of users. So that's something that we would, I would hopefully like to have a meeting with you and be able to discuss what content you need, what degree of customization you might want, and also the number of users that you might sign up. There are currently some subsidies available until the end of this month or next month, which would actually allow you to use Gamerize Dictionary for half of the price. The price on the App Store, if you download it and use it as an end user, is 1,200 yen a month, which is obviously quite a lot for schools. For schools, the pricing is much less than that. I'll put it that way. But yes, happy to discuss that. How much is the monthly subscription for a school and family use? Yeah, for a family that's using it on their own, that would be, again, the App Store prices, which is about 1,200 yen. For schools, it's as low as 300 yen per month and up to about 800 yen per month, depending on the number of users. I will quickly share. Is that, yes, it is per student per month. I'll quickly share the school dashboard as well. So I won't be able to go through this all in detail, but on the school dashboard here, you're able to make classes, create adventures and assign them. You're also able to check analytics, which I think is useful. So you can see which students are doing a lot of study on it, which ones aren't. So app login stats here, this will show, this is my school. This shows in the current week how much time the students have spent on it. So as you can see, some of them are at the top of the leaderboard. They're up in the 6-hour range, and then it goes down. You'll have students using it for half an hour, around that per week. And I think I'd better end it there because I've gone over by almost 5 minutes. How about some school, homeschool for kids age 5? We've designed it for elementary school age, so from grade 1 to grade 6. However, we do have a lot of users around 5. My daughter is 4 and she uses it. I mean, it's not our target age, but she's interested in what Daddy's doing. So it definitely works for her. She loves it. So I do think for a 5-year-old, that would probably be right on the young end. If you use it together, I think it would be very appropriate. But they might need a bit more guidance to learn how to use it successfully at first.
Adam, somebody asked what to do with the code that was given earlier.
All right. I'll show you what you can do with that in order to use it for free for this month. So I showed you at the beginning the sign up panel. So fill out all of these fields, and then the very bottom field, you can put in the code UKG77, and you will be able to use it for free until the end of this month if you want to give it a good thorough checkout by yourself. Discounts for annual subscription. Yes, there are discounts for annual subscriptions. You couldn't type the number 77 for some reason. Oh, what are you using an iPhone or an Android? iPhone. And is it set to Japanese or English? It shouldn't be able to have Japanese. Sometimes the numbers in Japanese are a larger size. It would not accept those. You couldn't use the code. All right. So, sorry, David. I promised I wouldn't go over on time.
Deliberate cough. That was unintentional.
So to use the code, let me show you again. Click on the bottom new sign up over here. And then there's a button here. This means you're for filling out the form for a school. If you click this, it will give you more fields. So don't fill out the second to last one. Use the bottom field with that code. This one stays empty, and then fill out everything else as usual. So last thing I will say, if there's something, if you did want to ask me more questions, and we are over on time now, feel free to email me at adam@gamerize.app. Also, you can check out gamerize-dictionary.com, and there's a trial application form on the site, which will come to me. So if you're interested in giving it a try at a school, you can check it out there. I'll throw that all in the chat in a moment.
Okay, thank you very much, Adam. Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
please put your email address and things in the chat, and then everybody can see what to do.
Yes, thank you. I'll do that.